Yeah, I just want to talk a bit about random shortly, and then by the end of this video, I'm going to explain to you how where you can use random. Generally, random can in Python used in different places across different domain, like in the aspect of simulation and modeling. So you can use random to generate the event behavior or simulate weather, traffic, population dynamics. So you can also use random in the aspect of game and entertainment, like randomize, dice rolling, card shuffling, or any enemy behavior. So you can use that in aspect of creating games, looting drops. So in this part, you can also use it in machine learning, like splitting of data into random. You can also use it in security and then authentication, like one-time password token, or generate a random password. So you can use it to create security, like anything that have to do with authentication. You can also use it in web development, where you need to randomize items, add and rest of them, testing and debugging, creating applications. So random can be used in different ways. So in random, generally random return both float, that's between 0 and 1, and you can also return integer between a and b. You can also return by using choice, which like picks random. You can also use shuffle. You can use as well sample, use uniform and rest of them. So there are different ways you can actually apply random in different scenarios. So it's just like a short way to explain random a bit better. So like I said, and like for example, if it is, let's say you have number 1 to 6, for example. So let me just say number that will equals to, so let's put it in the list, and we say random here to 100. Now if you run this particular code, so that means you want to look at the random between 0 to 100 in this particular pattern. So in that way, you can actually get this random. So for the first thing you need to do is you need to first say import random. So when you import random, and then this is just a way of bringing it random. So import random, and when you import random, you should be able to have the random number between that whatever you're looking at. So anytime you run the code, it's going to give you between that number. So if you reduce this number you have here to something, let's say that you reduce this particular number to, let's say, something like 10, that means any number you're going to have is going to be between 0 to 10. That then, remember, like I said last time in our this thing, that particular number you want to add will not be included. Like you can never see 10 here if you keep on doing the random. So in this case, I just want to put a number by making it just a bit of manual, and then I'm going to say in this part, I'm just going to put a number first, and then I'm going to get it done in that way. So in that way, I'm just going to say that number is equals to, so let me put it in the list, and I will say 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7. Now this is the number that I want to do. Then in this way, I have imported random, so I'm going to say random here. Then I can do shuffle the number, and then I can print the number. So in this way, so here you can say random dot, here you can do shuffle here. So you say random dot shuffle. Shuffle is a keyword here, and then you can print the number. So you still need to put it in num like this. Now when you run this, so what happens is that it is going to be shuffling this number. You can see here it changes it. So this is the way you can do shuffle. So in game you can shuffle in this way. You can make it like, let us guess number, and then you can have this number. See, it will keep on shuffling this number, and this is what we call shuffling, like use shuffling in this particular aspect. So another way you can also use random, like I've explained in game, in testing and rest of them. So you can, let's say that we have a data that you have, let's say between 1 to 5. So I'm still going to copy this number. So let me go ahead and copy this as well. So I go in here, and then I have this number. This is just a random element that I'm just going to put, and I say that I want to get this to be aspect of that. I want it in random here. So I'm going to make this random, and I'm going to say that you sample it. Let's go into sample. Now in sampling, then I will now say in this sampling, so I want it data, and then I want it to be data like this, and then I want to print the result. So I'm going to print the result of this. So if you go ahead with this, so what it means is that you want to randomly, and you want to sample three numbers. So you can put this in a game. Let's say you are playing a game and you put a number between 1 to 10, and you can tell somebody, okay, I want you to guess the three numbers that we're going to have, unless you can make it, minimize it to 2, and then you go ahead and say, let's get into two numbers that we can. So guess between 5 to 10 the best number that is going to put here. So you run the code and you have this issue, keep on this. So this is a way you can make a kind of sampling. So this is just like a little bit of introduction of how you can use sample. Like I said, you can use it in different places, you can use it in different scenario, you can use random in different like game simulation and rest of them. But as you can see here, this is just like a short of explaining the random detailing a bit. So we are going to move into full random, where we are going to make real life application. But this particular two example will get you understand what I'm trying to say. So if you have a numbers like this, you should be able to get. And remember what I said earlier about using random, that if you go ahead and say, let's say that you say import random, so you remember that anytime you're making random, so you need to import random, and then you say that you're going to get number. So I'm going to import random, and then you're going to get a number. So let's say that the number that you're going to get, like what I did earlier, in this as part of random. So you get the number. Remember, like I said, that anytime you're going into random, that particular one you are looking at will not be involved, like will not be part of the things that are going involved. Like if you get ahead and say open bracket and print random here, and then dot print random dot random here, and then what I'm saying, that the number, so this will just keep on bringing a random number. It's just keeping a bringing a random number. But if you specify the number, so if you do this kind of thing and say print random dot random, so it is going to return a number between 0 and 1. So this is just like put print random dot random. So this particular script is going to be keep on returning a number between 0 0.0 to 1.0. So it is just going to be giving you a random number within this particular place. So remember that the way to bring this thing is using a syntax, like which is putting up the random there. So once you put in random, then that's going to give you those number in that pattern. So like I said, remember when you're putting up a random, that particular random number, this is just a little bit explanation. Like I said, if you import random, for example, I'm just going to be repeating this because you might just want to run it independently. Like what I did earlier, that you have a random and you run this particular code, this number can never print 10. Let's say that we reduce this into 1, so let's say to 2, and you keep on running this, so the answer will keep on being 1, because it's not going to include that particular number that the range goes in. So if you put 3 here, it's going to be bringing you 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. So you can use it to make a game. Like I said earlier, that you can make this a game, and you can telling people, can you have a guess number, where a number between this and this, like I did here earlier. This is shuffling. So if you reduce this number to say, let's say 1 2 3 4, and you can say somebody tell me the arrangement, the person can guess. So this is just like a game. So you can use this to shuffle a number, and then you can use it to sample data. Like here, this is the number of data, and you want to sample the rest of them, so you can use this now to say 2. Then this means if you increase this thing to 4, it means that it is going to sample about 4 of them. So you have 4 here. If you increase this thing to 1, so it's just only going to be 1. That is one sample that is just going to come out. So you get this thing. Then here random, like I said, give you 0 to 1. So we are going to go into details as related to the random, and then we're going to break them. But I just want to bring this understanding here. So when we go into full random, then we're going to use that a real life example where we can use them, how we can use each item, or use everything that we need to do on random, and able to use that to bring a real come up with a real life application of random, so we should be able to get that. But remember, like I said, random is a type, is a function, so it returns a random number between 0 and 1. When you use random integer, you're talking about random integer with a specific range. When you use choice, that means you select a random element from the known empty sequence. You use shuffle to shuffle the list. You use a seed to initialize the generator. So this is how you can get that done. And remember, like I said, like I mentioned, choice. Let's say you have a random number. So let me just go ahead and say that, like, let's say random dot choice, because I've already imported random and I have run it, and then I'm going to come up with this kind of list and say I have let me just start with my name, and I have king, and then let me go ahead and put another name, Shaker, and then let me also go ahead and put another name, Chuku, and then I'm just going to here to highlight and put it in this. And then when you go up to this, and then this is just like a random dot choice here, then it just goes in. So what does choice do? Like I said earlier, that when you are using a choice, you select a random element from known empty space. So you pick a random element, so anything you put here, it will just pick a random element here from the known the list here. So just anytime you run it, you just go ahead and pick a random element of each choice. Then I have talked about the shuffle, which I have talked about here. You can shuffle numbers, and then it will keep on shuffling the numbers whichever way you can use. Like I said, you can use it in generating random number for simulation, for random selection of item from the list. You can use it for reshuffling item in game mode for testing purposes. You can use it to create a data for testing or of algorithm. So you just need to have this in mind and know that you can also get. So another place, what I want to explain a bit before I drop this is, let's take for example that you are looking at so I have already imported random, and let's say you want to shuffle a number. Let's use deck. So you want to do card, so we can just say card, like those people who play card, and we're going to say that we have a list of card that ranges, so I think it is 42 or so. Yeah, some list of, sometimes the card is always I think 42. So let's say we have a list of card that ranges from 1 to 42. A list of card that ranges from 1 to 42. So let's say it means, so what this means is that if it is to 42, so that means we need to put 43 here. So we have a card that the list that it ranges from 1 to 42. So it means we need to put 43. In that way, we can now also randomize this card. So by shuffling the card. So when you do this, so if you do this shuffling, so you can see this is the way the number can be shuffled in different ways, and different ways it can be shuffled. So but in this way, I just want to say, okay, that what I want to have there is that I want to have a card that is between 500. So I can just go ahead and say that I need a card that is between, let's say here, to 6, and then you can run this. So you see that you are going to have a card that is between here, so it's going to run and give you a random card here. Remember, they are shuffling, so you can get between here. You already know this. So if you need a card between 1 to 5, so this means you are putting up this between 1 to 5. So this is just the way you can make shuffle, and then this is how you can use this to create games, simulate, or draw students. So this is a little bit of about random. We're going to go deep into random and then use it to build different application or different testing or different simulation that we can use to apply in real life about random.